So some people, when they hear sixth sense, they're thinking more of like energetic intuition and things like that. It's not that sixth sense. It's the idea that your body has its own consciousness and it knows where it is in space. So if you're going to go catch a baseball, your hand has a dumb little but very fast consciousness that kind of knows where it is, so you can reach up and grab it, but you're not doing it with your conscious thought. You're not doing it all with the brain. You're doing it where basically the brain imagines you catching the ball, and then the hand's like, oh, I got this. And then the hand goes and does it. So there's a distributed intelligence throughout the body. It's actually very elegant and kind of scary, because it means that your hand has its own consciousness. Each cell has its own consciousness. But as you get smaller and smaller, the dumber and dumber they are, but they're all very fast. Mm-hmm. So there's a system that's not in your brain that's controlling, say, when you're doing a bench press, right? You're doing that and it's monitoring your shoulders. So your shoulders have their own little consciousness, this proprioception and some other stuff in there. And they're saying, how much can I lift? And you're pushing, but then because you're pushing against gravity, gravity accelerates at 9.8 meters per second squared, which means when you wobble a little bit, the bar is heavier. Now, your proprioceptors feel the wobble and they go, oh man, I can't lift anymore because the wobble might be a big wobble and then I would get injured. And my job as a shoulder is to not be injured, irrespective of whoever's in the brain. It doesn't know and it doesn't care that you're in there. All it knows is its job is to not be injured. Its job is not to push as much as possible. And the whole mental side of weightlifting is the mind over the body. You're going to push, you're going to do it. Well, what if instead of using effort and willpower to do that, you change the inputs to the proprioceptors? Since they're expecting gravity and they're very well adapted to telling you exactly how much you can't push because it might wobble, you could sit down on the AI machine at Upgrade Labs, which is integrated with all the other tech that we do, and you can push, but you're pushing against something that will never wobble because there is no gravity. You're pushing against a computer-controlled winch. And when that happens, if you wobble or if you fail a little bit, instead of the weight falling back towards you, it just keeps moving. It's almost like an isometric exercise. And when you do that, you put muscles on really, really quickly because you're able to load the muscle far beyond what you could do with a normal bar. As an example, right when I was first opening Upgrade Labs about 8 years ago, I did a belt squat with 1,600 pounds. I saw your eyebrows go up, right?
Wow.
You can't do that with gravity because you would destroy your legs. As it is, yeah. I had like a pair of Oakley combat boots on and they were forever useless. Like literally the soles flattened out, right? But so does this mean I'm more powerful than anyone else? No, it means I could do 1,600 pounds without gravity because I didn't have to worry about wobbling. Because if you have 1,600 pounds and you shake a little bit, it's going to weigh 3,200 pounds and you're going to go to the hospital. Right? Yes, I was sore for a week, but the idea here is you can do it. I even invited Mark Bell, who's one of the top 5 powerlifters in the world and just a really cool guy. He came up to my prototype lab on Vancouver Island when I still lived there. And I put him on the machine. And after 5, I don't remember how much weight he did. It was insane. But 5 of these things, he's like, what did you just do to my chest? Like, what the heck? Right? Because you can load the body differently. And when you load it quickly and then relax, that's when the change happens. And this is the other thing that's missing from the conversation. And this is a new concept. I think you'll like this one too. It's in Smarter Not Harder. And I call it slope of the curve biology. And it's something I've been noticing over time. We went from spin classes to high intensity interval training. And from there in the book, I talk about rehit, which is even lower intensity, but works better. If you do 3 20-second intervals, it works worse than 2 20-second intervals. You have to get the right amount. What drives change in the body is a very sudden onset stressor, followed by a very sudden turning off of the stress. So if you can return to normal breathing, normal heart rate, and a peaceful state, the body will change quickly. So what you must do is load the body when it has full access to minerals, from animal proteins, and proteins, from animal proteins. So you load the body quickly, and as soon as you're done, you stop and you just chill. And Frank Zane is one of the guys who inspired me on this. This is a Mr. Olympia, first generation bodybuilder guy. I interviewed him a couple years ago on my show, and he plays the flute and he spends 2 hours a day meditating. And his whole career of bodybuilding wasn't just lifting stuff. It was lifting stuff and then relaxing. when the body feels safe after it had a signal. Safety plus nutrients equals growth and transformation and evolution. And lack of nutrients or overtraining, or even just training for a long period of time and then going to work right away, you don't get the benefits. So it turns out speed up of the input and speed off of the input, that's what drives growth, not the duration of the work, not how hard it was, how quick it was. So with this knowledge, you can change your brain. You can change your stress response. You can change your cardio. You can change almost anything in the body. And slope of the curve biology holds true for everything I can find except for zone 2 cardio, which I don't do because it takes 90 minutes a week and I have a life. But I recognize it would probably be good to do it. I just don't care that much.